Do you want to grow your audience, attract more clients, and boost your authority without getting lost in the chaos of social media? The secret, leveraging other people's audiences. Today, I want to give you the big picture of something I call guesting, how it works, why it's so powerful, and what most people get wrong. And the best part about this is that this strategy can lead to real sustainable growth for your business without relying on the ever-changing algorithms of social media. So, are you ready to learn how to turn this into your secret weapon for growth? So, quick introduction. I am Heather Cameron, a client attraction strategist and business coach, and I help women entrepreneurs leverage other people's audiences to grow their business the right way without wasting time on strategies that just don't convert. As a virtual summit host, a podcaster, and a strategist, I've seen firsthand how leveraging other people's audiences can transform your business and drive massive growth. And my passion is to help you tap into that so that you implement this strategy in your business and you're not relying on social media to grow your business. Now, today I'm going to break down why leveraging other people's audiences is one of the most powerful growth strategies out there, and how it can become your secret weapon for attracting clients and boosting your authority. And the best part is, I'm going to give you the first step at the end of today's video on how you can get started to really start making this work for your business. So let's dive in. So what is guesting? So in a simple terms, guesting is showing up on somebody else's platform in front of their curated audience. Now, whether that's a podcast, a summit, a guest blogging, a bundle, a giveaway, speaking live from the stage, in all these cases, you're showing up in front of an audience that somebody has curated on a platform that people trust. And when I use platform, I don't necessarily mean like a social media platform or anything like that. I mean the platform that they've created. So like the podcast, the summit, whatever, is you're getting your message in front of these potential people, but trust is already established. And that's why it works. The beauty of guesting is you are borrowing trust. They are inviting you in front of the audience. And most hosts are very protective of their audience. So they're only going to invite credible people. The more protective they are, the better the opportunity. So when you show up on somebody else's platform and you're invited and you're brought in as the expert or the authority, you borrow trust from that, and you're not starting from scratch, and you're not building your audience one person by one person. You're getting in front of their audience, which could be 100 people, it could be 50 people, it could be 2,000 people. You're getting done right. You're getting in front of high quality audiences. And if you choose the right opportunities, they're going to be at least a subset of your ideal clients in there. And that's why it works. And so we want to look for, when you're doing this, established communities full of people who are already interested in what you offer. And that's the power of guesting. It's about where people are leaning in. I always love that expression, when you're listening to something and you lean in because you're engaged and interested in, that's what we want to do. We want to get in front of those audiences where people are leaning in. And it's not just about visibility, it's about impact. And it's about leverage. And those types of things put together can really make a difference in your business. So it's not just about showing up, it's about showing up with intention. And when we talk about guesting as a strategy, it's about doing exactly that. How are you going to show up with the intention of communicating and helping this audience, but ultimately moving a stranger to a paying client? And there are endless opportunities out there to be a guest. And the best part about it is that there are different platforms, so you can guest in a way that works for you. But the important part is to choose the right opportunities. You start to damage yourself, I think, a little bit when you guest in the wrong opportunities. But when done right, there is a huge potential for exponential growth that can lead to, creating your own, what I would call client generating or client getting system in your business, leveraging other people's audience. It is the fastest way to grow your business that I know of, and the most successful. So there's two forms of leveraging other people's audience. And the first one is you show up in front of their audience. So that's where you're the guest on a podcast. That's where guesting is an important part of it. Podcast, summit, like I said, a whole list of different places that you can do this. The second one is creating your own platform and bringing together multiple people's audiences, like a summit or a podcast. Both can work wonderful in your business if done right. So the first one, appearing in front of their audience, that's what guesting's about. And so the pros for this is quick exposure. You borrow that trust that I'm talking about. You get in front of an already engaged audience. Some of the cons is you don't you don't own the timing of it. You don't know when it's actually going to get released. And so they're great opportunities and it's a great strategy to really build your audience, but you don't know exactly when this is going to get out all the time. So you're not in control of when it gets out, but that doesn't mean that you can't take advantage of it. One of the other cons I see is people getting in front of the wrong audiences. They're like, okay, I'm going to go be a podcast guest, and they just book all these podcasts without having a strategy. And being in front of the wrong audiences can be really demotivating because you don't get results. And you're like, well, I did that, but I didn't really get any clients out of that. And so that can bring you down. And number two is without that solid follow-up strategy, you can get in front of the perfect audience. But if you don't have a way of taking that stranger who's listening to you, who you've got assumed trust with, and giving them an opportunity to come into your world, then they're not going to convert into leads or clients. So it's important that when you're using the guesting strategy, guesting as a strategy, that you start to implement some of these things. And I've been there. I've been a guest on summits and podcasts for over 10 years, maybe 15 years. And I have been there where I wasn't that organized. I didn't have my systems in place. And I went and I didn't get anything. So I had a great conversation and it was interesting, but it really didn't lead to anything because I was lacking the strategy. And that's why I'm so passionate about it, because I know what can happen when you have that strategy in place, and I know what can happen when you don't. And so the second one is creating your platform. So an example is our Scrapbooking Fun Summit. We created that platform. I approached a friend of mine who is in the scrapbooking space. That's what she does. And I am a client attraction strategist, and I've been running summits since 10 years or more. And so combining that together, we created a platform where we brought in multiple experts. I think our first one had 24 people. So 24 people with large lists and sponsors as well, that brought an audience together that allowed us to go to 8,000 people on our list. We now have close to 17,000, and that'll grow in the next couple of months when we do our next summit. So the pros of this is you get to play the role of the host. You get access to multiple audiences, you are front and center, and you control the timing of it. The con is it's a lot of effort, not going to lie. I love running summits, but it's a lot of effort. You need a solid strategy so that you stand out. You need a profitable strategy. So you need to build in profit to it, but it's a great way to go. Love them. If you want to talk about them, reach out to me. I think they are awesome, but you have to be willing to invest the time and effort into it. And that's why we're going to focus on the first one, guesting, because it's a lot less time and effort, and you can get magnitudes of growth that you can't get by posting on Facebook and posting on Instagram and that. So we really want to focus on this. So let's kind of delve into what goes wrong. Why do people get it wrong? Why? And maybe you have as well. I know I have. So why do we get it wrong? And guesting isn't, and I think one of the biggest reasons people get it wrong is the focus is on the wrong thing. Guesting isn't about just visibility. It's about growth and impact. So it's about taking this and saying, okay, I'm going to be a guest and I'm going to use this as a very core, potentially one of the most powerful growth strategies for my business. And I'm not going to do it just to get visible. Like, oh, I got to book 5 podcasts, I'm visible. But what is the visibility and what's the big picture? And what's the tangible result that you want for your business? So if you don't have that in place, it becomes a visibility game versus a growth and impact strategy. And we want to focus on the growth and impact strategy. So mistake number one is not treating guesting as a growth strategy, and potentially one of the most powerful ones. And so this isn't just about getting visibility. It's about moving a stranger to a paying client. And what does that look like for your business? And how is that mapped out? So really important in not have, if you don't have that strategy in place, it's really difficult to see the results that are possible. Mistake number two is relying on hope to convert listeners into clients. So it's the same thing. If you don't have really strong call to actions, if you haven't developed a really strong follow-up system, if you don't know what you actually want them to do, then how are they going to move through that? If you're not clear, how is it going to be clear to them? And so we want to be really clear, and it kind of leads into mistake number three is not a clear message. And what I mean by this is not like your messaging that you need in typical businesses, which I 100% believe in. I help lots of people with their messaging, but this is about moving that opportunity where you're speaking over here and having them buy over here. So what is that thread that's going to move somebody who's a stranger to come into your world, to want to work with you, to want to buy what you're offering? That's the message thread that we have to really build. And there's a second layer of messaging on that, which is why does a host want to put you in front of their audience? What's there? And not having that clear can also mean that you're not going to get the results you want. So, for example, in the past, I participated in giveaways and summits where I added anywhere from 20 highly targeted people to 1,000 not targeted people. But my follow-up was completely unfocused. I was doing the visibility thing because that's what I was told to do. But I didn't have a really good follow-up and I wasn't laser focused on my end goal. And so I got people on my list, but I didn't convert them because I wasn't doing the work to converting them. And so being laser focused on your end goal, you want them to do this, and then have that thread go all the way through everything that you're doing is really going to make guesting work for you. So the fix for all of this to make it work is to be intentional, to put a system in place, which is where the Guest Advantage framework's all about. But, at a very high level, we want guesting not to be random. It should be intentionalized and it should be prioritized. So it's a key marketing technique. And so when you treat it like a key marketing technique, you're going to develop that marketing channel. You're going to develop all the steps in there and become very intentional about where you show up, what events you book, what the call to actions are. We want to be super intentional with that. And we want to start with the end in mind. Ultimately, we are guesting so they can become a client. And if that's not your goal, I want to really ask you, what is your goal, right? Visibility isn't going to turn them into a client. We want to guest, we want that stranger to become a client. Now, of course, not everyone's going to become a client, but if we have that in the thread, if that's what our focus is on, that's when we can make guesting really work for this. And why is it such a fantastic, sustainable growth method? It's because once you build the system, once you get your strategy down pat, you get really laser focused on what you're offering and what your message is, and you have the system in place, it becomes repeatable and it becomes super easy for you to do this. So for example, just yesterday I applied to 2 events. One was a summit, one was a giveaway. It took me less than 30 minutes. Why? Because I have it all there. I've already got my strategy. I know what I want them to buy. I know what I'm focusing on, and I have it all there. I have all the little bits and pieces together. I can put that in place. I can apply. And I even tweaked one of my freebies. So even then, it still took me 30 minutes. I think it took me another 60 minutes to tweak something to be more aligned as I learn and grow, to be more aligned with my message. And I applied to 2 events, and that's why it can be such a great process, because once you've done the work to create and to really think through this and you're not doing ad hoc, then it's very repeatable and you can keep applying to events. The key is strategy and system. So without a strategy and with a system in place, you can waste a lot of time in guesting. You can go to the wrong guesting opportunities, or you can do them, they're the right ones, but you have no way of capturing the leads. And we see this in our summit all the time. We have people who come and speak at our summit, and they are literally in front of the last summit we did. We had 12,000 people registered, but the emails went out to over 20,000 people on our part, and our whole, accumulation audience is well over 200,000. This all went out to people. And we had people who participated as speakers and they had no way of capturing the leads. So they could have walked away with several thousand very targeted people in their email list, in their world, and they didn't. And so, showing up isn't, and being visible isn't what you need. You need that strategy that goes with it. And the other thing about doing this is if you have the strategy and you have the systems in place, hosts are going to love you, because most hosts are very protective of their audience. We're very protective of our list. When I was a podcast host, I was very protective of people who came into my podcast and sometimes did an interview and never published it because they weren't there. But if you have this set, if you have everything in order, I don't need to chase you. I can tell you as a summit host, chasing people is annoying. I don't need to chase you. Everything comes in, you're organized, everything's in order. Hosts are going to love you. They're going to recommend you. They're going to bring you back, and you will stand out not only to the host, because when the host loves you, they go that little extra effort for you. And I know we do that for the people that we love for our summit. They're going to go the extra effort. You're going to stand out. So really focusing on strategy and systems will open up so many more opportunities for you. So I want you to consider where you're at right now. And so the first step, I promised you the first step to really start to implement this is to really see where you are right now. That is the easiest way to get started. And I have for you something that I created called the Guest Advantage Audit. It's going to take you 5 minutes to do it. The link is below in the comments. It's up there as well. It's going to take you 5 minutes to do it. And It'll give you, if you're honest with yourself, because you're the only one who's going to see these results, it's going to give you a snapshot of where you are now. And it's going to highlight where do you need to focus. What are the things that you need to do? What's working? What isn't working? What's missing? Where do you need to focus to really amp up your guesting strategy so that you can start leveraging this very powerful strategy to grow your businesses. So download the audit, take the audit, and I would love to know how it went. If you took the audit, respond to the emails, put a comment below, and let me know what came out of you for the audit. It would be really valuable to understand that and know that. And if you want to take this to the next level, make sure you subscribe because I will be breaking this down further over the next couple of weeks and months. This is something I'm truly passionate about, and I really want to help you create your client getting machine using guesting as one of your most powerful strategies out there. So let me know in the comments, have you had success with guesting, or do you feel that it's just not working, or have you not even tried it and it's something that you're open to really start implementing in your business because it can be an absolute game changer. So like and subscribe so you don't miss any of these game-changing strategies. I can't wait to see you next time. Take action today. Download the audit and take a pulse of where you are right now. See you next time.